Welcome to Charity Therapy, the podcast where we explore the ups and downs of the nonprofit sector and answer your burning questions. I'm your host, Jess Birkin, owner of Birkin Law Office, and I'm excited you're here. Imagine hanging out with me and my super smart, funny nonprofit expert pals. You get to ask them anything about your nitty-gritty nonprofit life and get their wisdom for free. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just strapping on your nonprofit boots, we're here to share stories and remind you you're not alone on this journey. So get ready to join the conversation and bring me the tough questions. I ain't scared. Ready to rock? Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to this episode of Charity Therapy. I almost said welcome back, Cotter, but
isn't
literally
that a
nobody's
TV show from like
what that is
a long time ago? Like
it is.
I don't know why I know that.
John Travolta's early career was as a high school student on the TV show Welcome Back, Kotter.
Fascinating. Was his name Cotter in the show?
No, the teacher. The teacher was Mr. Kotter.
Mr. Cotter.
And John Travolta said it like that, Mr. Kotter.
I love it. Love it. Love it. I have a cousin who's very convinced that my dad looks just like young John Travolta, specifically Danny Zuko, and I cannot see it, and it's fascinating every time he says it.
What? Wait, he still thinks that? But
my father's like 65. Yeah, 100%.
Danny Zuko.
I know.
So I assume that is the name of the lead that he played in
Greece.
Saturday Night Fever?
No, in Greece.
In Greece?
Yes.
Oh, God, that's even worse.
Why is that worse?
I don't know. At least Saturday Night Fever was like a cool movie, but Greece is so corny.
Okay, Greece is iconic. I can't abide this.
I don't know.
Slander.
I don't know. I know the youngs are back into the Grease thing, but like it's so.
I was like dancing around singing Sandra Dee at 5 years old all the time. You know, like why not make fun of women for being virgins when you're 5? Like that's what's really missing. From...
Right. I'm like it's so un-PC.
Oh, it's terrible. It's horrible, but it is great. I mean,
oh Lord.
Okay. We'll set that aside.
Anyway, we're supposed to talk about like nonprofits or something on this show, I think.
So instead of talking about, John Travolta, let's get into the IRS. There's been a lot of news lately about the IRS.
Yeah.
Specifically about the head of the IRS. So we'll get into all that with our listener question. But first, Jess, can you tell me, like, what is the job of the IRS commissioner, who is the head of the IRS?
What a scintillating way to start us out, Megan. I'm sure everyone really wants to know about the IRS commissioner. Yeah. Well, okay. Like, basically, like most other federal agencies, like top post, it's a political appointee. They're appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate. So they got to run the gauntlet to get in there. And they serve like a 5-year term. And their job is basically to oversee the IRS. They're like the top boss at the IRS and make sure they're like setting and following their own rules and regulations and carrying out the tax laws, blah, blah, blah. We're all asleep now.
Right. Exactly. So super fascinating question. Just consider it light foreshadowing. If you haven't been following the news, you'll find out why we're talking about that. So I have a listener question that I think a lot of nonprofit folks may relate to. So let's talk about it. Wrote in and said, I submitted an IRS application for tax exemption over 6 months ago. Now it's May, and I still haven't heard back. I was prepared to wait for a few months at least, but this is taking forever. What gives?
Yeah.
Oh, and for context, this is in 2025. That is important for this particular answer we're about to give.
Yeah. This question is fresh. Okay. Processing times are real long right now. Like as of today, like the day we're recording this is May 8th, 2025. And I can like see in the online thing when I go to check on client stuff that the IRS is still working on applications that were submitted in September of last year. So like if you turned in your application in September, they might be just getting to you right now.
That's 8 months.
That's 8 months.
I did the finger counting for the people
at
home who cannot
I wasn't
see.
even going to attempt. I was like, I'm so bad at math. I have the 10 key. I need to figure that out.
I didn't even need to out myself that way, but I did. Okay.
I appreciate you. Yeah. The vulnerability is good. Listeners need to know that we finger count too. Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing. The 8 months is not totally out of the norm, but it really was, at least in my experience. I mean, our applications get processed very quickly. I like to think that the IRS sees an application from Birkenlaw and they're like,
yeah, top of the pile.
This way, man.
Yeah, I would love that one.
Yeah. So, but I mean, my experience was applications were moving through very quickly. There was that period during COVID where it was like, oh my God, what is happening? But then they got through that and they have been sped up and we've been having like really good processing times. But now I'm noticing it's starting to grind down.
Right.
And I think there's lots of reasons for that.
Totally. For a long time, we were telling people like, oh, expect between 3 and 10 months, but 10 months almost never happens. Like that was a COVID era thing. And now we're 8 months of they're working on those applications. Like that doesn't necessarily mean that they're getting their determination letter today. So it's like we are definitely creeping up toward the longer end of the spectrum.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And it's been there before. Yes. I mean, it's not like this has never happened. Like 8-10 years ago, 10 months was like pretty average, right? Like they have cycles and things happen and whatever. But there's a lot of things have been happening lately.
Yeah.
And so on top of the fact that the IRS has been like under-resourced for a long time. And yes, there's all this like, oh, they just gave them all this money. Well, that was for tax collection. I'm talking about the charities division. Okay. Nobody's spending money on the charities division where we don't make revenue for the U.S. government. They're still running on software from the 1960s. Okay. Like literally runs on COBOL. So they're already under-resourced in the exempt entities division. And then, in the big federal employee purge, the IRS lost 20,000 employees. I'm not exactly sure where they all came from. And then DOJ wants to cut 40% more of the IRS, so we'll probably lose more staff. And I can't imagine they're going to prioritize revenue-generating staff over exempt entity staff. And then we've had the commissioner of the IRS has turned over like 5 times since January of 2025. There have been 5 different commissioners.
I had to look this up because I felt very much like, surely not. But then when you look at it, it's like, this has been a soap opera. Like, this is absurd. 5 in the last 5 months.
And it's like not big enough. Like, there's so many other pieces of news that drown this out that like it's actually wild when you break it down because it was like, okay, so we had the commissioner who was there when Trump was elected, right, was Commissioner Daniel Werfel, and he was appointed by Biden, but he resigned early. He resigned January 20th, which was early. Normally they serve 5 years and there's overlap into the next president's term. So then his deputy, Commissioner Doug O'Donnell, stepped in as acting commissioner, and then he resigned in February. So he was there for like a month, and that was because he refused to sign the data sharing that DOJ wanted the IRS to share data with Homeland Security so they could get ICE immigration enforcement going. And then, so he left. And then the next in the chain of command, Melanie Krause, started serving as acting commissioner. And then she resigned after only 3 weeks because she also refused to sign the information data sharing thing between Homeland Security and the IRS. And then Elon Musk decided he got to appoint people to be IRS commissioner. And so who did he choose? Well, Elon Musk. And I'm like, how was this not major news?
Again,
but we know it wasn't major news.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So then Elon Musk decided, I'm just going to pick somebody for you. And he picked Gary Shapley, who is this like low-level IRS revenue agent who was the Hunter Biden laptop whistleblower guy.
Yep.
And he just was like, that's our guy. We should put him at the top of the agency. So that was like totally illegal. He had no authority to do that. And the Treasury Secretary for the U.S. government was like, excuse me, what? And was like, no. And so that guy served for like 2 days.
48 hours with Mr. Gary Shapley there.
Yeah. Appointed on Tuesday, gone by Friday, right? So now the Trump administration has moved in Michael Falkender, who's also currently serving as the Deputy U.S. Treasury Secretary. So he's wearing two hats. He's Deputy Treasury Secretary and Acting Commissioner of the IRS. And he's been in there since mid-April. So he's lasted longer than
possibly anyone
far.
Since January. Yeah.
But he's only temporary because an appointee has to be appointed and then confirmed by the Senate. And so this is the cherry on top of the sundae, folks, because when I tell you that the person that they want to run the IRS has no experience, it's Republican House Representative Billy Long, who, assuming he gets confirmed by the Senate, which we don't actually know, this man has no experience with the IRS. His background before he became a House of Representatives legislator is he was a realtor and an auctioneer. Okay, like the guy that wears the 10-gallon hat and is like, do I see 200, 200, 200, 250, 250 in the back? Like, what? Okay.
That sounds fake. That's like saying that he was a used car salesman. Like, that's the same energy to me, where I'm just like, really?
Yes. So his only tax experience is that he sponsored a bill that would abolish the IRS. And he's apparently about to be the commissioner of the IRS unless the confirmation hearing doesn't go well.
Yeah. And all of that, not only has there been the revolving door of acting commissioners, a ton of other high-level execs at the IRS have resigned as well. So everything is in a shambles. So knowing that's all what's going on right now, what does that mean for nonprofits?
So who cares, right? Well, the reality is the IRS is going to be in a world of hurt. And the people who are working at their desks day to day are the same people that have been there trying to process stuff and review 990s and working in the exempt entities division the best they can. And I think that things are going to slow way down. And it's not their fault. I would probably expect that if you have to get on the phone, it's going to take even more forever for them to answer the phone. And when you do get them on the phone, they're going to be extra cranky. They're not always in a good mood anyway, but I think they're probably going to be extra crabby. So for nonprofits right now, it's a really good time to make sure your tax filings are done on time, that they are perfectly prepared by a professional and all of those things. I expect from the application side, we're looking at 8 months standard processing right now. I would expect we're going to get down to 10, 12 months standard processing, maybe even more. So if you're going to apply for exemption, the best time to apply was probably a year ago. The second best time is right away. And to put in the best, most professional, thorough, and airtight application that you can with the most professional help that you can afford, because you do not want to be in a back and forth process with the IRS right now where they're asking you questions and you have to respond, because it's going to just take forever for people who get their application sent back. That's my takeaway on this, because a lot of what the IRS does has nothing to do with nonprofits.
Yeah. And
so I think we'll just see less and less money spent on the exempt entities division. And
yeah, what that means for us is just
gonna suck.
That the nonprofit, side of things is just collateral damage in all of this back and forth arguments within the federal government right now about what's going on at the IRS. So
100%.
Yeah. So some big takeaways here to kind of get back to the original question also is just IRS wait times are long. If you have to deal with the IRS right now, expect it to take a long time, whether that means you're calling them and waiting on hold, or whether that means you've put in an application for tax exemption and it's going to take months and months and months and months to get a response. So expect all interactions with the IRS to take a long time. Another big takeaway is that the best thing that you can do about that is make sure that whatever you're putting into the IRS is done as well as humanly possible. Hire professionals, get help, do it right. You do not want to end up in a back and forth mailing nightmare with the IRS right now. I think that's really it for our takeaways today. Did I forget anything? Is that everything that we should cover?
No, I think that's perfect.
Okay.
So, folks, dial in your patience. All that patience that you have, you're going to need it if you're dealing with the IRS. And if you're pleasantly patient with me, you'll go over to the Apple store and click the 5-star rating. I don't know. That didn't work at all, but I tried. I tried to loop it in. Doesn't make any sense. Whatever.
I was going to let you go, but then I started laughing. So
hit all the
happen.
buttons.
Yeah.
Hit all the buttons. Do the things. If you've had an experience with the IRS, you've got a story to share, get at us. This is like hot stuff. You are helping the other nonprofits by sharing your question. So send those to charitytherapy.show, and thanks for listening.